Welcome back to the Maile Behind The Scenes podcast. This is Becca here today with our very special star grad, Tyler Kleinke. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Of course, thank you for joining us. Okay, first off, other than modeling and acting, tell us a little bit about you.
Well, a long story cut a little bit short. Since I was just a kid, like, say, 7-9 years old.
Yeah.
I grew up in a very large family, and my my mom was always the go-getter of, like the queen bee of everything.
Mm-hmm.
And growing up, it wasn't always the best of everything for me. And the one thing that drew me to this industry was my mom was always taking us to the movies, and she was always taking us to, like, theaters and entertainment scenes. And then plus with, a big family, growing up with 9 brothers and sisters,
wow.
me being the middle child of 9,
yeah.
My mother and father were, big on traveling.
Yeah.
And everywhere we went, we had a TV in our van or RV or whatever. My eyes were always glued on the TV screen. I always said that I wanted to be like them on the big TV screen. And plus, my mom had us in modeling at a very early age, but everyone wanted my younger brother, but they didn't think about, what I was going to end up doing. So
gotcha.
I broke into it because I was always in love with movies, and we were always going out to the movie theaters.
Yeah.
And it was always one of those hobbies I always loved.
That's awesome, and I can't wait to see how far you're going to go in this industry.
Thank you.
Super cool. Now, what made you enroll at the Maile School? I know you said you've been watching a lot of stuff since you were younger, and that's what made you want to get into it.
Very good question. Well, when I was 19, my journey started with Alpha, the Wild Samoan, and his wrestling training center, the Wild Samoan Pro Wrestling Training Center in Minneola, Florida. And I trained with him for well over 7 years, and I was wrestling with him on their program, WXW, for 10 years. And sadly, as you have it, when COVID hit, 4 years ago now?
I think it's been like 4 years. That's
5 years.
Crazy.
Tragically, it closed the training center.
Really?
And yes, and it was a big setback and a big disappointment to us all.
Mm-hmm.
And I was about 25 at the time.
Yeah.
So when they closed it down, it hit deep with me because I had nothing I had nothing to set back on. I had nothing that, to keep me going or nothing. And there was no training facilities that were just taking, local wrestlers in without, them wanting payments or them, them asking you if you have this and this experience or something like that. And I didn't really I didn't have comfortability with going to another training facility. And my roots started in that training center, the Wild Samoan Training Center, being trained by Alpha. And when it closed down because of, the whole COVID, I told myself, well, the only thing I was doing for 4 years was sitting around watching movies and saying, okay, I love watching movies. I've always wanted to be an actor outside of wrestling.
Right.
So I ended up Googling acting schools, and out of like 5 schools, I ended up saying, well, there's a 5-star acting school in Winter Park called Maile. Let me go check them out. And that's what brought me to the Maile School, was Googling it because it said 5-star. Well, let me go check them out and see how it goes. And from day one, since I walked into the door right in front of Debbie, she literally took me in and
Aww.
made a whole new home for me.
That's
and
awesome.
Pretty much helped me start a dream of wanting to become an actor.
Yeah.
Like, well over 4 or 5 years ago now, and
well long into
it's been a great journey because I've learned a lot of being an actor ever since I walked into the doors of the Maile School.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been a great journey, and I've learned a lot from sadly stepping away from wrestling
mm-hmm.
and then becoming an actor.
Yeah. You always time to get back into it though, because.
Oh yeah, it's exactly.
Exactly.
I mean, of course, I'm always gonna give my gratitude and my well of starting my journey to wrestling. I'm always gonna give back to them all the time.
Of course.
But I guess wrestling kind of didn't exactly want to keep me after 4 years went on, but it'll always be there
mm-hmm.
if the doors decide to open back up for me. But right now
Absolutely.
it's like wrestling is it's always been a love of mine because I've been going to the movie theaters and been in love with watching movies and wanting to be like actors in movies since I was just 8-9 years old.
There we go. Yeah. Now, what programs did you attend at the school? You did acting classes. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes.
The beginning program and then the advanced programs, right?
Yes, I have. And when I started out here in the Maile School, I will be honest with you. Growing up watching movies and being in love, with being an actor and wanting to be in movies and film in the film industry and wanting to be in television stuff, I've always grew up watching television, movies, and everything, but I literally knew nothing about the industry. I was
it's a little different, yeah.
It's a different story. It's a different story from wrestling because in wrestling it's on point.
Yeah.
It's not ready, set, action, go. It's live audience, so it's once you're in wrestling, it's like it's live feed, and once it's done, and
right.
It's a whole different ballgame from acting, because in acting you got you got ready, set, go, and you can retake if you had to, but in my acting career, when I first started in the beginners class, I literally knew nothing. I kind of always been the actor that kind of fed off of just going with the flow and trying to be as natural as possible and just doing the first thing that popped up in my head and just watching from other actors and then going from there. And then in the beginners class, I didn't know exactly what I was doing when I first started out, so I always was comfortable with just doing the first thing I did and then going off of what I've heard and seen, and then my first instincts. And it was a bit of a rocky start when I first started out, but I've learned a lot since being an actor. And from the beginners class, doing improv, cold reads, and commercial feeds and everything, and then slowly progressing into the advanced acting.
Yeah.
When I first got into advanced acting,
it's a big change.
It was a big change because when I first got in front of Jim, he literally was throwing curveballs left and right.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, man, I'm getting my butt kicked here. But he has really opened doors for me that I didn't think was possible in acting. And he brought me. I was a clamshell to begin with. I was clamshell. I didn't talk whatsoever. I mean, I still am quiet, but I was a clamshell. Like, I was shy. You couldn't get me to talk and barely say 2 words. But he brought me out of my shell in a big way and brought me to a whole new meaning of what it really is to be an actor.
Right, and getting comfortable with the uncomfortable. With
the uncomfortable, exactly. So I mean, I still do get kind of, shy a little bit, but nowhere
normal,
near as
yeah.
what I used to be.
That's great. And the growth and the confidence, too. Like,
Gosh.
you can tell, right?
Yes, big time, big time.
Now, you keep coming back to the Maile School for the advanced acting. Tell everyone
my
why
love and passion,
you feel
yes.
it's so important to keep training.
It is important to keep training because you're never going to stop learning in any industry you go into.
Exactly.
Especially
It's always changing.
always changing, yes.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I've learned in my life, and I've always heard this all the time, no matter where I'm at, is no matter how old you get, no matter how long the years go on and things progress, you're never going to stop learning.
Exactly.
You always keep learning new things as you go on. You're always going to learn, the do's and don'ts of everything that you're always going to come up against. And you may think that you have everything down. You may think that you're, professional in this and that. You may think, oh, I've got this down. I don't need to learn anymore.
Right.
Sadly, you're always going to keep learning.
Mm-hmm.
Never stop learning, because in this life, as a person, you don't want to ever stop learning, because you never know what's going to change. You never know what to expect.
Right.
And you don't want to just go on in life thinking that you're going to, evolve without, just taking in new things all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to be the kind of person that, stays humble, stays true to their craft,
Yeah.
and always keep learning, because it's just better. It's better to be a person who wants to constantly learn all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And not just say, hey, I've learned everything, forget it,
Yeah.
forget old stuff. That's just not the way it ever goes.
Exactly. Now, what is your favorite thing about the programs here and the most challenging things here?
My favorite thing about the programs is that basically there's always programs that I love getting into. Like they always offered like tough challenges. Like when you get advanced acting, they offer you to like partner up with somebody,
Mm-hmm.
and then you're able to actually reenact scripts with a partner, and then you get to do showcases, and then you really get to experience what actors experience in, like, the big leagues, like, when you're going on in life. You get to
Mm-hmm.
experience what actors in movies really go up against, like reading the scripts, doing one-on-one scenes with a partner, and then practicing and then doing showcases and then reenacting the scenes like it really is in Hollywood.
Right.
And then when you're in beginner's class, you get to learn like baby steps, like basic, like doing cold reads or improv, or doing
learning the basic techniques, right?
Basic techniques, and basically just going on from there, like basically reading cold reads and improv, and doing and what it takes to be in the industry with auditions,
Right.
and getting yourself prepped,
Right.
and what you need for auditions to be ready, and what you're going to come up against in the industry. And then it always is fun to be in advance, because I love getting scripts, because you never know what kind of script you're going to get. You always want to be prepared for the unexpected. And I love challenges, so yeah, you learn everything as you go on.
Here we go. And another thing I really love is like the family, like how everyone gets so close.
Exactly.
Especially in the advanced programs too, along with the beginners classes.
You always meet new people
every time.
Every single class you take, and when you meet new people, you it's just showing you what the industry is really going to be like, because you never know in this industry who you meet.
Exactly.
And the bonds that come with it, and just when you meet new people, it's like you have certain connections every time you come up against new class and stuff. It's like when you're on a movie set, you meet people, and then like this family bond happens.
Right, you build bonds, friendships, and
Exactly.
also networking too.
So it's
awesome.
definitely an awesome time.
Here we go. Now tell us about some of the industry bookings and auditions you've done.
There is one that I have done. It's not exactly like something that got through Maile, but it's something that Maile got me prepared for.
Right.
It was a Full Sail university kind of gig that I got. This was maybe about a couple of years ago now.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing this audition for a comedy skit for a short film called Sticky Situation for a director over there that does classes with students, and I honestly did not think I was going to get the part because there was other actors going out for it. But then the funniest thing happened with it. When I did a Zoom meeting with the director and did my audition, when he said he was going to get back with me, I was finishing up a back tattoo, and the funniest thing is, I was just getting out of a 4-hour session finishing my back tattoo.
Uh-huh.
I have this full length bandage on my back, and I'm like screaming in pain, and the next thing I know is I'm getting an email from the director himself in Winter Park saying, "Congratulations, Tyler Kleinke, you got this role.
No way.
Congratulations, my soul. Be here at this and so time." And I'm thinking, and then he had told me that all his other actors had backed out last minute. He was like, "I need you. You're my soul. Be here at this time." I'm thinking, "Oh my God, I'm in pain now." Now I'm thinking, I got this long bandage on my back from finishing up my tattoo, and I literally have like ink streaming down. So next morning I go in and I'm his soul, and I kind of was like, a stiff soldier the whole time on set, but
yeah.
It kind of worked out that way, that I got it the way I did, because he was pretty good about giving me direction and feeding me on everything. But it was pretty funny how I got that. He said, I had all these actors that backed out last minute. I need you, and you're my soul, and you're perfect for this. And
wow.
I told him I had just come out of getting the tattoo done. He's like, "You should be just fine. You should be just fine." He said it's nothing. He said it's nothing too big. Just walk from here to here and you'll be just fine.
Wow.
I'm like, okay. And I kind of was unprepared for it, but he ended up having, the wardrobe planned out for me.
Good. You're like, I got this, but I'm in a little bit of pain.
I was, and then the only thing that was kind of tough was, the sitting down part, because I'm doing this the whole time and like gradually sitting back, and I'm trying to like not to like
show it
and everything. But yeah, dude, from that I ended up getting Sticky Situation at Full Sail. That worked.
Wow.
Ended up working out with me perfectly fine.
That's awesome.
and then I think there was probably one other audition that I had got, but then my family had came into town, and then unfortunately the director had reached back, said that was perfect, but then he had checked out two other actors, and then that kind of escaped because I was getting ready to go on this family trip. But I think there was probably like one other gig that I did that I think probably I haven't even heard back from.
Mm-hmm. Was it recent?
It was maybe about a year ago or so.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't really heard back from it. But yeah, I did like another one. I think it was with might have been Full Sail. Yes, might have been Full Sail.
Full Sail does a lot, yeah.
Yeah, and it was for I think it was a director that was writing up a skit for me, and she wanted me to do this comedy for her. But yeah, I was doing that. I worked on that, and then. But my biggest one that I did was Sticky Situation. That was pretty fun, but
that's awesome, and that has a cool story underlying that.
Unexpected, and kind of, I didn't really expect to hear back from it, and then I ended up getting the video itself sent to me from the director, and he was like, "Well, everyone almost gave up on this, but here's the video for you." I'm like, "Dang, I didn't expect to hear back from him." But
that's awesome.
Yeah.
What are some of your favorite movies?
That is honestly a tough decision.
Here, you know what? You can have more than one.
That is a tough decision.
Maybe your favorite genre?
Favorite movies. I'll try my best to pick at least a couple, but that's gonna be a tough decision. My favorite movie that I probably grew up watching, probably off the top of my head, because I was always watching movies left and right, and I could never land on just one movie. I was always just bouncing back and forth from multiple movies.
Yeah.
I'd have to probably say favorite movie would probably be Eurotrip, and then probably Into the Blue, and probably there was one movie that I was constantly always watching. What is that movie? With Jessica Alba, Little Fockers. That's it. And then there's another one, From Dusk Till Dawn, I'd have to say.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, there's a lot of movies, but I'd have to say those at least those four for now.
Super cool. Now, we talked about the favorite actor. I know we can't pick one, but tell me a few of your favorite actors, people who inspire you.
Yes, I definitely can't just name off one. I have three, but the first one I'll say that inspired my career. This guy is the purpose behind my story and my whole career decision.
Mm-hmm.
Dave Bautista. I was probably 7 years old when I first saw him on live television back in 2002 to 2003 when he first debuted on SmackDown, and he inspired me big time. I'm not as big as him, I get that. I'm not as big guy as he is, but I do kind of see my story just a little bit like his.
Uh-huh.
And
that's awesome.
He inspired me because he showed when he was growing up. He grew up very, rough in the 70s,
mm-hmm.
and he never had anything when he was growing up, and he had kind of the hand-me-downs when he was growing up. He kind of got the last second of everything.
Gotcha.
And he didn't really, grow up in a good environment, and he went into his career when he was probably around my age. 30,
it's never
30,
too late
30,
to start.
30
Some
years
people
old.
think that. I don't know why.
But
yeah. Some people think you have to get in at the age of 2.
Unfortunately, I started in wrestling when I was 19, but I didn't start into this industry till I was, 25, and now I'm 30, and well, he had some people behind him, but me, I had my mother and father, kind of helping me along the way, but it was mostly me.
Mm-hmm.
after they kind of stepped away, and then Dave Bautista is big inspiration on my career.
That's awesome.
And then my second inspiration on my movie career is Salma Hayek, only because she's not just a pretty face.
Mm-hmm.
She's got so much talent. From watching her from Frida to From Dusk Till Dawn,
mm-hmm.
she has a lot of talent, Salma Hayek, and a lot of people always looked at her as a pretty face. And
Yeah.
when she was in Grown Ups and Grown Ups 2,
Mm-hmm.
when she went out for those films, she was told that she wasn't funny, and she said, "Well, I can be funny." And I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't really think I'm funny, but I mean, maybe somewhere in between, be natural about it or something. But I don't really think I'm funny. But but yeah, Selma Hayek has proven in Hollywood that bit of a doubt that she could do the unthinkable and and she went into comedy.
There we go, yeah.
And then
wow.
Yeah, and she definitely inspired me for my movie career. And then
wow, yeah.
the third one, I'd have to say Jessica Alba. And reason being is because she went from being a child actor to just having an outstanding career.
That's awesome.
And when I first saw Jessica Alba, it was in Into the Blue, and she has proven that that not only to be a pretty face, but if she proved to me in her career that if you really want something bad, you can keep chasing it.
Exactly.
Same with Dave Bautista. But yeah, Jessica Alba, she kept with a lifelong dream, and she has done and from Into the Blue to A Little Fockers, she's had an outstanding career herself. And then in the movie Honey, she was outstanding in that film. The way that she does her technique with films, I've always loved how she has beauty, but then she has so much talent behind being a pretty face, and she does such an amazing work. And from Into the Blue to Honey to Little Fockers and being a young actor, she has it all.
That's awesome. Super, super, super cool. Now, any advice you'd give to future Maile School students, or also advice you would give to your past self?
Advice I would give to future students, past self. My advice: never give up.
Never give up.
Words I've lived by for well over 10 years. Never give up. And when you have naysayers in your path, or when you have up and down bad moments, or when you hit rock bottom, or when you have hard times in your life and nothing's easy, always keep going, never stop, and just always prove that you can do the unthinkable and impossible.
Absolutely. Wow. Bravo. That was one of the best ones I've heard so far. Well, that is all the questions I have for you today, Tyler. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, and we will see you guys next time on the Maile Behind the Scenes podcast. Once again, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Adios.
Thank you very much.
Bye.